Oh yeah, all right, okay. Hey WILDR folks, Alicia here. This week's video is about my top tips to help with foot cramps when hiking. We are going to be covering what to do if you get one, when you're out on the trail, how to alleviate it maybe, and then we are also going to be talking about long-term how to avoid them in the future. This is incredibly important because if you get a foot cramp like 5K from the trailhead, you still got to make your way back to the car. Now, just a reminder, foot cramps can be a sign of a more serious underlying medical condition. So if you're worried about that, talk to your doctor. There is no harm in investigating and making sure that you are safe. If you're new here, my name is Alicia. Welcome to WILDR. We talk all things outdoors and fitness, and I'm so happy you're here. So let's start with the basics. A muscle cramp is when that muscle is contracting. The actin and the myosin, the two proteins that interact, are holding on and they are not letting go. Now, there's a couple reasons why this can happen. It can be something to do with your brain-muscle connection. It can have to do with fatigue in the muscle, and it can have to do with electrolyte balance. Each of the causes of these cramps can be dealt with different ways. Now, I'm going to talk in a minute about a couple immediate fixes for cramps, depending on what type of cramp you have. But let's start by talking about strength. It has been shown that weaker muscles that don't have as much strength endurance, are more prone to cramping. So your journey to having muscles that cramp less in your lower leg and foot is actually to work on the strength, the power, and the endurance of those muscles before you hit the trails. In addition, if the way you're walking uphill or downhill is relying more on the small muscles of the calf and the foot than the large muscles of the glutes and the quads, you might be setting yourself up for more fatigue through the foot and ankle, and then setting yourself up for more cramping. So if you want to know how to walk uphill to preserve those little muscles and use the big drivers, check out this video on hiking in Waterton. We talk about how to hike up a steep hill without overusing the lower leg. And working on that muscle strength can be done in as little as 6 minutes a day. So I'm going to link here to a follow along foot and lower leg strength that you could do along with me. Start doing it early and you'll find that this summer you have less cramps. Now, a second reason for cramps can be low glycogen stores, and that just means low available energy for your muscles to actually use to contract and relax with every step. So if that's the case, sometimes a cramp can be fixed by making sure that you're snacking early and often on sources of carbohydrates. So this is where your apples or your fruit leathers or your candy, kind of simple sugars, are really important to take in early on a hike. Now, the third reason can be dehydration or an electrolyte imbalance. When it comes to drinking water or to taking in electrolytes, more is not always better. You want to make sure that you're taking in just enough to replace what you are sweating out. And so in 2 pounds of sweat, you're going to have about 200 milligrams of potassium, 10 grams of magnesium, 800 milligrams of sodium, and 20 grams of calcium. So as long as you're taking in enough electrolytes to replace what's lost, then you should be good to go. We always want to make sure that we're not taking in too much plain water. That can lead to too much water and too little electrolytes, which is another reason for cramping. Now, another theory for muscle cramps is they come from an overstimulated nerve system. So your brain is just continually telling that muscle to contract. In this case, believe it or not, a teaspoon of mustard can help you overcome that cramp. Now, I know this sounds like a myth, and in fact, I first heard about it from the trail running community. They would say that, oh yeah, just take some mustard packets with you, and if you start cramping, throw a mustard packet back. And it sounded wild, but it's been talked about so much that it's actually also prescribed for people that get nighttime cramps in the medical system, and it's starting to be researched. People are trying to figure out why this kind of home remedy seems to work. Now, there's lots of theories and we don't know for sure why it can be helpful. The leading theory right now is that we do have nerve receptors in our mouth that might be reacting to the pungent taste of mustard or pickle juice, and that kind of makes the other nerve signals in the brain calm down for a minute, which can release that cramp that you have going on. And the final reason for a cramp can literally be a lack of space. So throughout the day, when we're out in the heat, at elevation, standing for long periods of time, we're probably gonna get some fluid that goes down into our lower legs and feet and hasn't quite had the help to return to the upper part of our body yet. When that happens, we can have swelling, and even a little bit of swelling happening within a hiking boot can cut off some of the room available for transport of fluids or electrolytes or whatever else our muscles need. The simple cure for that is to take off or relace your hiking boots after you've been wearing them for a long time, or even after you've done a pretty big downhill section. And while you're at it, you might as well pop those feet up in the air for a minute or two, help with some of that venous return of blood to your heart so it can get circulated around your body. So to recap, the 5 reasons that you might be feeling cramping in your feet when you're out hiking are muscle weakness, in which case make sure that you are walking to preserve the little muscles and build strength in your feet and ankles. Low glycogen stores is number 2. Make sure that you are snacking early and often. Number 3 would be dehydration or an electrolyte imbalance. Now, if you want me to dig into exactly how much water and electrolytes you should be taking in while you hike, pop a comment below, and if there's enough interest, I will make that video. Number 4 is neural fatigue, so that connection between the mind and the muscles, and in that case, a little bit of mustard or gentle massage of the muscles that are cramping can help with that as well. And number 5 could be swelling that's happening because you're out on a hot day, you're getting a little bit of fluid retention in the lower half of your body. I would love to hear your experience with foot cramping or any home remedies that you have to make them go away. And if you drop that in the comment box below, then I would love to read them. Also, a special note, we are actually starting up our next cohort or group of hike ready fitness participants on June 5th, and we actually have a link to it in the description below. So if you want to make sure that you're building up the strength so you don't have that foot cramp happening, then check out the link, see if this is a good fit for you. And if it is, I would love to work with you to help you have the best summer ever. Okay, have a wilder week. We'll see you guys out on the trails.